Hey everyone, Two Angry Frogs here, and with The War Within Season 2 underway, we have a really good understanding of how to gear our characters now. And for Season 2, we have more ways than ever to grab gear and currency to upgrade that gear, enabling us to reach item level 665 even in solo play. So what options do we have for gearing in Season 2, and what are best for solo players and players who jump into group content? Let's dive in and find out. When it comes to open world content, you have a lot of gearing opportunities from a solo player perspective. This starts with world quests, which are available in the 4 Kaz zones after you finish the main story campaign, and in Undermine after you complete the Undermine campaign. World quests can be found on zone maps marked with a circular star icon, and are a great way to gear up quickly to help fill in any gear slots that are lagging. World quests reward Explorer track gear at item levels 597 to 603 and can be upgraded to item level 619. Your next solo play gearing options are weekly meta quests, events, and special assignments. There are numerous weekly activities across Kaz and Undermine that can be completed each week. Season 1 events in Kaz have been updated to reward Season 2 gear and currency, so activities like Awakening the Machine and Theater Troupe continue to be worth completing. We also have new weeklies in Undermined, including Reduce, Reuse, Resell, Mini Jobs Handle It, and Urge to Surge. In addition, there are new special assignment quests available in Undermine each week as well. Completing weekly meta quests, events, and special assignments rewards a chest that can contain gear, restored coffer keys, gear upgrade materials, gold, and other items. The first 2 chests that you open each week are guaranteed to contain a piece of veteran track gear at item level 623, upgradable to item level 645. It's beneficial to complete at least 4 of these per week for the restored coffer keys. You can collect 4 keys this way each week to open bountiful coffers when completing bountiful delves, which we'll get to in a moment. Beyond gear and restored coffer keys, all chests reward crests and Valorstones, so completing as many of these as possible each week helps you gear up that much quicker. Finally, we have a new world boss at the Demolition Dome in Undermine, the Godfather. Gear drops from the Godfather are a little different than what we had with previous world bosses. You no longer have a random chance at getting a piece of gear, but are guaranteed a warbound until equipped piece of gear on the champion track at item level 642. With this change, you can only receive 1 piece of loot per week per account, so you only need to kill the world boss with 1 character each week. Note that there really is no need to kill the other 4 War Within bosses at this point, since they continue to drop Season 1 gear. For solo or group play, delves are also a great way to gear up. With the changes in Season 2, you have an opportunity to upgrade gear all the way to item level 665, equivalent to gear drops from the first 3 bosses in the Mythic Raid. We have a total of 14 delves, including the original 12 from Season 1 and 2 new ones for Season 2, Excavation Site 9 in the Ringing Deeps, and Side Street Sluice in Undermine. After each daily server reset, 4 delves are marked as bountiful. You can see which delves are bountiful by looking for the highlighted delve icon on the zone map, and when hovering over the icon, you'll also see text denoting that it's a bountiful delve. To get the highest level gear, you want to complete bountiful delves at tier 8 and up. The bountiful chest at the end of these tiers rewards champion track gear at item level 639, equivalent to normal raid gear, and is upgradable to item level 658. For solo play, your goal is to reach a level that allows you to comfortably run Tier 8 Bountiful Delves, which the game recommends at item level 639. Note that Tier 8 can be completed at lower item levels. The more you can gear up to successfully complete Tier 8 Delves, the better your rewards from the Bountiful Coffers and the Great Vault, and the quicker you'll achieve your gearing and item level goals. You can get an additional piece of gear in 1 bountiful delve each week by using a Delver's Bounty. Using the Delver's Bounty and defeating the Delve End boss gives you an additional chest, the Hidden Trove, containing a hero track piece of gear at item level 649. The Delver's Bounty can be acquired in 3 ways. First, they can randomly drop from bountiful coffers at the end of a delve. Note that these drops match the tier that they are dropped in. So for example, if you get a Delver's Bounty in a tier 6, then in the next Bountiful Delve you run tier 6 or higher, you receive a tier 6 piece of gear. They can also drop if the Underpin, the Season 2 Delve boss, randomly summons into the delve you are in. Regardless of whether you kill the Underpin or are defeated, he will leave behind a gold pile that contains a Delver's Bounty. Finally, for a guaranteed Delver's Bounty, if you have 2,000 Undercoins, head to Sir Finley Murgleton at the Delver's headquarters and purchase the Wave Scrambler 2000. When you get to the Delve checkpoint, you can use the item to summon the Underpin to your location. Note that the Delver's Bounty can be used at any point while you're in a delve up to right before you engage the end boss. Starting at tier 4, the Nemesis Strongbox affix becomes active, which causes Underpin allies to appear throughout the delve. If you defeat a group of these enemies, you're rewarded with a bonus chest, the Nemesis Strongbox, at the end of the delve. This chest can contain Valorstones, Crests, Curios for Bran, and various other items. As you complete higher level tiers, the number of Underpin ally groups increases, and defeating more groups will reward more items in the Nemesis Strongbox. So once we have all this gear, we need the currencies, including Valorstones and Crests, to upgrade it to the highest levels. The good news is that in Season 2, there are now more ways than ever to collect them in solo play. So how do we collect these currencies? First are world quests and the weekly events, meta quests, and special assignments we talked about earlier. For world quests, we can pick up between 8 and 33 Valorstones depending on the quest, and for the weeklies, we can pick up between 48 and 75 Valorstones in the chests awarded for each event, meta quest, and special assignment completed. We also have additional events in Undermine that reward Valorstones, including Scrap Heap events, Chet tasks that become available at Renown 13 with the Cartels of Undermine, and Urge to Surge. These reward anywhere from 10 to 250 Valorstones. World Soul Memories, like in Season 1, are another great way to collect Valorstones as well. These can only be completed when you have a Radiant Echo, which are rewarded when opening a Bountiful Coffer in Bountiful Delves. World Soul Memory events rotate across all zones and are shown on the map with an Azurite icon when you have a Radiant Echo in your inventory. You start the event by going to the World Soul Memory location and clicking on the big ball of Azurite. For Crests, as in Season 1, we have 4 levels, and each higher level is used to upgrade gear on higher tracks. We'll get to how to upgrade our gear in a moment, but know that Crests include Weathered, Carved, Runed, and Gilded, and these can be farmed in both solo and group play content. You can also pick up Valorstones and Crests from the Renown vendors as you reach higher levels of Renown. In addition to the 4 Renown vendors in the Khaz-Algar zones, we have a new Renown vendor in Undermine, Smack's Top Skimmer, located in the Intercontinental Hotel. One thing to note here is a catch-up mechanic for players that have not yet collected Renown rewards from the original 4 Khaz-Algar vendors. These vendors now reward Season 2 Crests, so if you're coming in new or you have an alt that has not yet collected the Renown rewards, this is a great way to get some additional Season 2 currency. Next, if you have not started Season 2 or have not completed the Season 2 starting quest in Dornegal, head to Vascarn at the Undermine Crest Exchange. Vascarn gives you the quest The Better Part of Valorstones, Don't Undermine the Crests, and Crest Transmutation, and between these you'll be rewarded with 300 Valorstones, 15 Weathered Crests, and 30 Carved Crests. You can also grab Valorstones and Crests once a week from your Great Vault. If you don't have any usable loot from the Great Vault, you can choose to receive Algari Tokens of Merit. The amount that you receive is based on the number of Great Vault slots you have unlocked. You can exchange these tokens with Ardgaz near the Great Vault for Valorstones, Carved Undermine Crests, and Runed Undermine Crests. Finally, we have a new way to collect Gilded Crests, especially great in solo play. A new Gilded Stash reward has been added when you clear Tier 11 Delves with lives remaining. Looting the chest rewards 7 Gilded Undermine Crests, and we have a weekly cap of 21. Gear upgrading, like in previous seasons, requires crests and Valorstones. As shown earlier, we have 4 types of crests, and each crest type is associated with a different item level upgrade depending on the gear track the item is on. For example, Runed Undermine crests are used to upgrade champion track gear for levels 5 through 8, and hero track gear up to level 4. You need 15 of a given crest type in addition to Valorstones to upgrade gear to higher levels within a track. Note that Explorer track gear requires only Valorstones, no crest required. One really important thing you might consider is holding on to gear from Season 2 even if you do not plan to equip it. Why? Once you have upgraded all gear slots to the maximum item level for a given crest type, you'll be able to exchange crests for the next higher level. For example, after upgrading all of your gear to 636, you no longer have use for Weathered Undermine crests. Beskar and Dornegal will then allow you to exchange 45 Weathered Undermine crests for 15 Carved Undermine crests. So you can hold on to gear until you get to this exchange rate. If you, for example, get a cloak and decide to vendor it, and later have all of your gear upgraded except for a cloak to that level, then you'll have to find another cloak in order to just upgrade it so you can get to the exchange. Crafting gear can be great for both in-game and filling in gear gaps while you're working to get higher item level gear from other sources. If you have crafting professions on your main character or alts on the same server or in the same guild, you can craft your own gear, which can save you a lot of gold in the process. If not, then you'll need to find a crafter and submit a work order for the item you want crafted. To fill in gear slots that are lagging behind, and for a great way to boost your item level early on, you can use Enchanted Weathered Undermine crests for crafting gear up to item level 629. Crafting higher item level gear requires higher level enchanted crests and a Spark of Fortunes. Enchanted Runed Undermine crests for crafted gear up to item level 658, and Enchanted Gilded Undermine crests for crafted gear up to item level 675. In Season 2, unlike in previous seasons, enchanted crests are no longer crafted by enchanters. You can now purchase enchanted crests from vendors in Dornegal. You can find the vendor land next to the enchanting profession table and vendor cyanite near the crafting order NPCs. Each type of enchanted crest requires a set number of the same type of base crest. So for example, you can exchange 45 Runed Undermine crests for an enchanted Runed Undermine crest. Note that you can get 2 enchanted Runed Undermine crests for completing Season 2 content. One for completing the story mode of the Liberation of Undermine raid, and one for reaching Renown level 20 with the Cartels of Undermine. You can open the raid story mode after completing the first 5 chapters of the Undermine campaign on your first character. For all other characters, you are given the option of skipping the initial campaign chapters and immediately opening story mode. The Spark of Fortunes for crafting is created using 2 Fractured Spark of Fortunes and 250 Valorstones. You can get 1 Fractured Spark of Fortunes each week from the World Soul Meta Quest from Farron, Lothar, and Dornegal. Note that there is a catch-up mechanic if you have not collected the Fractured Spark of Fortunes every week, and the catch-up fractures can be obtained from completing most Season 2 activities, including world events and special assignments, defeating raid bosses, completing delves, and so on. For all characters, you can also get a free Fractured Spark of Fortunes by completing the quest of Sparkling Fortune from Custodian Kuban next to the Matrix Catalyst. Although it does not contribute to the item level of your gear, another way to power up is via tier sets. Each class and spec has a new tier set for Season 2, and there are multiple ways to acquire the tier set gear pieces. The first and easiest when it comes to solo play is using the Matrix Catalyst in Dornegal. All characters gain 1 charge every other week in the Matrix Catalyst, and that stacks up to a maximum of 9 charges. To convert non-tier gear to a tier set piece, you simply drag the desired gear piece into the Matrix Catalyst slot and click Transform. When you drag an item into the Matrix Catalyst slot, you can see the number of charges you currently have and the changes to the gear if you transform it. The next way to acquire tier set gear is through the Great Vault. Each slot in the Great Vault, including the slots for completing delves, can have a chance to reward a piece of tier set gear, and we'll get to how to fill the Great Vault in the next section. The final way to acquire tier set gear is through group play, specifically raiding. 5 bosses in all levels of Liberation of Undermine, including LFR, Normal, Heroic, and Mythic, have a chance to drop a tier set token, which can be opened for a piece of tier. The last boss, Chrome King Gallywix, will drop Omni-tier tokens, the excessively bejeweled curio that any class can roll for in exchange for any tier set piece of their choice. Another great way to gear up in Season 2, especially for solo players, is the Great Vault. The Great Vault can reward up to 12 loot choices and is available after each weekly server reset. Completing the following objectives adds choices to your vault, and recall that any earned slot has a chance to drop a tier set piece. Completing raid objectives adds raid gear options to the Great Vault. The level of the raid loot choice is determined by the highest difficulty at which you complete each requirement and which bosses at that level you defeat. So for example, if you defeat the first 6 normal bosses and first 2 heroic bosses, your first slot will be 2 of 2 for a heroic raid choice, and the other 2 slots will be normal. For the dungeons row, completing heroic, mythic, Mythic Plus, and Time Walking dungeons unlocks rewards. For the Great Vault, Time Walking dungeons count as heroic. Gear choices in this row range from 632 for completing heroic dungeons to 662 for completing Mythic Plus 10 and up. And finally, the world row is filled by completing delves and other world activities. The higher the difficulty of the activity, the higher the item level of the choice in these slots. World activities that count for the Great Vault include the weekly events, meta quests, and special assignments. Delve completions are also rewarded in this row. To get the highest level of gear in solo play, this is another reason to complete Tier 8 delves or higher, as these fill slots in the Great Vault with 649 item level gear on their hero track. So before we wrap up, there are a couple of other additional gearing options. First is Circe's Circlet, a ring rewarded by completing the storyline in Siren's Isle. This ring is still worth acquiring as it continues to be a best in slot for all classes and is likely not to be replaced until we are much further into Season 2. By completing the storyline, you'll be able to upgrade the ring to item level 658 and have quite a powerful piece of gear. You can check out our Circe Circlet guide video linked above that covers everything you need to know to get and upgrade the ring. Finally, the Undermine Renown vendor, Smack's Top Skinner, provides 2 pieces of gear that can be purchased with resonance crystals. At Renown 7, with the Cartels of Undermine, you can buy boots at item level 623 on the veteran track, and at Renown 14, you can buy gloves at item level 636 that are on the champion track. So as we get settled into Season 2, there are tons of gearing options, especially for players that prefer playing solo. And with multiple ways to obtain higher level gear and higher level crests for upgrading, reaching near season maximum item levels is more achievable than ever before. We hope this guide provides you a path to achieving your gearing goals for Season 2, and good luck in your Great Vaults. As always, let us know your thoughts and any questions you have down below in the comments, and make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you always know what's coming up next. And a special shout out to our members for your continued support. We thank you very much. And everyone, have a great day.